We would like to acknowledge that the episodes in this series are produced on the traditional unceded lands of the Coast Salish peoples, which includes the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We thank them for allowing us to be their guests.
My name's Ryan Atimoyoo. Let's see. I am a Cree First Nations from Little Pine Reserve in Saskatchewan. My Indian name is Hakasteo, which means the sun rising in the morning. I got that in a all-night ceremony with my elders on the reserve, and
That's
I love
cool.
filmmaking. I love storytelling.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've been doing all my life. So yeah.
All your life.
Yeah.
So when did you start? I mean, as a kid, like you have brothers, sisters, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I remember writing stories on the reserve and show it to my mom and show it to my dad, and get them together and do some stories. But over there, we didn't really have a lot of film industry in Saskatchewan.
Right.
So I remember auditioning for the plays over in high school. That was a lot of fun. I auditioned for the play, and I found I really enjoyed the theater life. That's what we had, was a really big theater scene over there. I was like, okay, this is great. We can write the stories. We can make the stories. This is cool.
Right.
And I did my first year of university at the U of R, and here's the thing, they all kept telling me. They all told me there's not a future in this, especially for a 6'2" First Nations dude.
What year are we talking about?
Oh heck, my memory is so bad. Let's see. I think I went to that was around 1997.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, because
only just starting to change. Starting to change.
Yeah, it was.
Guys like Wes Studi were out working. Graham Greene. But how many? Not a lot of parts, right?
And I didn't relate to those guys.
Yeah.
We're talking about these old period pieces or
whatnot,
where
that's
they didn't have the experience that I had.
That was the only kind of movies that got made until they did what was it, Smoke Signals or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
I was looking at all this, and I was listening to people that I trusted and family and whatnot, and I was like, okay, well, I'll tell you what. I told my mom. And interesting note, I was actually looking at military intelligence before this. It was totally different. My sister went into the U.S. Army, joined the U.S. Army, and lives in New York right now. But I was going to go the military route first. But I told my mom, told my family, I had scholarships. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to try for New York. If I get into these top acting schools, then I'll continue to do theater. If I don't, we'll try something else. So, but mom was kind of like, I don't know. And dad was kind of, I don't know. And so...
Your folks were teachers, right?
Yeah, my folks were both First Nations university instructors.
Right. Yeah.
Now, the funny thing was, this is back in the day before internet, right?
Right.
And I had such a fear of disappointing my family. I had such a thing about disappointing people. So, in secret, I asked my university theater, one of the instructors, I said, what do you think if I go down to New York? And what do you think if I audition? Do you think that'd be a good idea? He's like, no, there's a lot of people trying. You'll be wasting your money. I would save your money and just try to continue here. I wouldn't do that. And I was like, all right, well, bleep you very much.
we won't name this teacher. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But it was enough to get me angry. And it was enough
that's
to get
good.
me mad.
That's
and that was good. So
Yeah.
in secret, I went to the library and I got all of the magazines, all the theater magazines, because there's no internet, remember?
Right.
So I had to go to the card catalog where you pull out the card at the library, find the magazine, you find the clipping of the school, write down the address, mail them for an application, and I get it all back. And I set up a week of auditions in New York. And here's where it gets interesting. I didn't even tell my family I was leaving the country. I arranged this whole thing, got a place in Harlem, the worst hotel, grungy hotel.
Right, yeah.
And I went on this bus ride for 3 days. Oh, it was a long bus ride. And so...
Whoa, from Saskatchewan to New York.
And I'm like 18 years old at the time.
Get out.
I'm 18.
Yeah.
So get off at the bus station, dingy bus station in New York City.
Yeah.
And I have to find my way to this this hotel, and it's grungy and whatnot. But okay, I'm doing it. No one knows I'm gone. And so, sure enough, I start doing my auditions. And it was AMDA, AADA, Juilliard, Circle in the Square, Tisch School of the Arts. So I arranged all of them, hey? And then I'll never forget the one that I really liked was Circle in the Square.
Uh-huh.
And so I went there, and I saw all the actors practicing, and I went to the office. I was like, hello, I'm here for my auditions. And she looked like a secretary, or no, she was sitting in one of the, not the desk chair, but a chair.
Right.
She said, come on in, have a seat. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the next person to come in. She's like, oh, why are you here? I was like, well, I want to audition. And she goes, oh, well, tell her, why? What are you going to audition? What are you going to bring? I'm like, well, I'm going to do this piece, and I'm so nervous, but I really want this. I've been practicing so hard. I'm so pumped to do this. We had a good little 20-minute chat.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget. She's like, that's great. Let's go audition. I'm like, what? I'm your auditioner. So I was like, okay, well.
Okay.
But I did my piece, and right away she told me, that was a great job,
Yeah.
We're going to give you a chance. Normally we don't give people your age a chance. We usually take older people.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But that year, they took two 20-year-olds, two 26-year-olds, a 27-year-old, and me at 19.
You're like the baby in the...
I was such a baby, hey? And so
the biggest baby in the
biggest
class,
baby,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I went home, and I still didn't tell anyone. I left.
Yeah.
Because I was so nervous that people would, if I failed, right? If I didn't get in. So I didn't know I had officially gotten the letter.
Yeah.
But then my folks started getting the letters. They're like, what is this? Ryan, what's going on? And so I was coming home. I didn't live at home at this time. So I would like get the letters, like, and then I opened them in front of my mom. I was like, I got in. She's like, to what? Into what? I'm like, okay, I auditioned for the school. I got into this school. I can go to New York. And
I'm going to Juilliard.
Yeah, and so I wanted Circle in the Square. And she's like, okay, well, so we had to do some really quick rushing around, like, where am I going to live? How are we going to get the money? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And we got lucky. We had a family member that actually lived there. So that changed my life, though. That was the first step to making me have the confidence that I could do something different. Because once I got in, that was one thing. But that was only the start of the journey, was that, holy cow, these other people that were in there was 52 of that summer program, and everyone was competing for the top 10 main year spots.
Right.
And they were competing hard.
Sure.
There were people from all over the states, from Texas. I don't even remember all the places. I remember one was from Rochester, the way she put it, Rochester.
Right, yeah.
And so we were competing. We were doing the best work we could. And I had studied the first year of theater, and I knew it was kind of Stanislavski, but they did method in a way. So I had just come off a kind of funny story, but I just come off a breakup, my first real relationship, and they made me write about it.
Oh, okay.
You know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote about how she broke my heart.
Yeah.
And then they gave me a scene. And sure enough, it's with this breakup scene, right? So I'm doing my piece with her at the school and doing our scene. It's okay. And that's not bad,
Mm-hmm.
But then the teacher comes to me and says, okay, Ryan, imagine if I was your ex-girlfriend. What would you say to me? And I was like, well, I can't believe that you broke my heart. And he goes, I never loved you, blah, 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 blah. And he just started laying into me, right? And I was like, oh my God. And that's when it all snapped. It all clicked, where I stopped thinking about him as the teacher. It was really my girlfriend. And then I started really getting into it. And blah, 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 blah. We were amping up the levels. And then, good. Now do the scene. By this time, I'm crying, right? So I look at the poor girl. but man, after that I knew acting instead of like performing for everybody versus truth in the scene. Right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, that was motivation. So then I started taking it more seriously. When other people would be going for lunches, I'd go to another class. When other people would go home for the day, I'd stay and talk to the teachers. I'd ask for more lessons. I was hungry for more and more. So at the end of it all, at the end of the whole summer, and I was tired. It was a long summer of someone crying every day, basically.
Sure.
And then
A lot of brain work.
a lot of
Yeah.
emotional work,
Yeah.
real heavy stuff, hey? And these people all really wanted it, but at the end they hung up our envelopes, these brown manila envelopes, all along the wall. So you just see like 52 envelopes, and everyone's stressing, right? So they get their things and they look at it, and people are crying in the hallways. They didn't get in. So I took mine. Went apart from the group, and I looked at it, and I got in. Holy cow, I couldn't believe I got in. So I went outside, I jumped on a car, like the little fender thing. I was like, "Ah!" And I started just like, woohoo, I got in, right?
Yeah, bravo.
So then I was like, okay, gotta keep it cool.
Yeah. Hey, this is New York.
Yeah, it's New York.
I gotta be cool.
Okay, keep my cool. I went back home and had a good heart-to-heart talk with the family. I didn't need to get into the program. What I needed to know was that I was accepted. I didn't need to do the full year. I did my degree instead. But after that, I had the tools from what I learned that summer. So all of my stuff was, the work was just so much better. And I was so determined after that. So
Yeah, you basically proved that you could be in that league, right?
it was the mindset, right? It
sure.
was the mindset. So before, when I was doing theater, it was like, I don't know if I can even do this. Then it was like, okay, I've been to New York. I know I can do this. I just have to work hard.
Yeah.
So what happened? Then I was kind of having my fun for a while, and I shifted to Saskatoon in Saskatchewan, and it just got more and more better. The work, I started getting a lot more big leads and whatnot, but enjoying theater. So at the end, I graduated, and I was like, well, there's not a lot of work for me here. I still wanted adventure. And it just so happened that someone had told me about, if you go to Korea, they'll fly you out there as long as you have a degree. They'll fly you out there, put you up on a place and everything. And I didn't know anything about this stuff. I just knew that, hey, I had to, needed some adventure, needed some extra cash. Okay, I'll just give it a try for 1 year.
To be like an ESL teacher.
Yeah. But I would be teaching theater or teaching English through theater.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, on Wednesday night, I was just messing around on the computer. I put in my application. Oh yeah, okay, send. And I forgot about it. The next day at 3 a.m., it's Korea time, right?
Right.
They call me up. Yeah, we'll do it. Blah, blah, blah. We'll buy you a ticket. We have a spot for you here. $2,300 a month as long as you teach. Room and board, all of it. So I was like, really? So that was the Wednesday. On the Sunday, I was on a plane to Korea.
Your poor mom and dad are going like, what is with this kid?
Yeah.
he's always taking off.
Oh,
you know?
well, my poor mom, because my sister's in New York and I'm over here on the coast, right? So she has to do plane trips back and forth. So she has international kids, but I always tell her, you raise us like this to be kind of
your fault.
Adventuresome. Yeah. But we have some good chats. So yeah. So anyway, what happened is I went to Korea, and I thought I was going to be just there for a year, make some money. But man, the experience there, again, another key point in my life. And we talked about this earlier, but I'll say it again. The story was there. I really liked theater, but I was kind of having misgivings about it. But it changed my life when I was there in front of the class. And all these Korean kids, and they're all there, and I go, all right, hi, I'm Ryan Atimoyoo, and I'm First Nations. And they all look at me.
What's that?
I'm indigenous to Canada. I'm one of the indigenous people. I'm Native American. I'm Indian. Aboriginal. No. I swear, it just broke my heart to do this, but I had to. I was like, and then I went,
that's it.
That's how they do, right?
Yeah,
but I knew they weren't being racist. Those kids didn't know. They didn't know any better. So
yeah.
I honestly was like, wow, they only knew what they saw on TV and in the movies.
Sure.
So I was like, we got to get to the TV stuff. We got to get into filmmaking if we're going to tell these stories on a world stage.
When I was young and talking to guys and we were just starting out, there was this little slogan that went around that said, if you can change the grade B movie, you can change the world.
Yeah, that's a good saying too.
You know? And so I get it. Yeah.
And that was a big thing where a lot of things clicked in my head. And it was also really weird coming from Saskatchewan, where there's a lot of racial tensions with First Nations people.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden in Korea, I'm exotic.
That's right. That's right.
I always laugh when I think about that.
You're like an orchid.
Yeah, it's like Ryan Atimoyoo, exotic Indian in the Orient. Exotic Indian in the Orient. Oh man, it was just like, this is weird. People are coming up to me.
It's like that, there's that whole thing in Germany too. They've got this kind of oddball kind of cult, but based around these old novels that were written by this guy who had never actually, I don't think, ever come to North America, and or ever met anybody who was indigenous, right? But I mean, it's like, and they have all these Germans are going around dressed up in big feathered headdresses and stuff.
We're big in Germany. I don't know what that's about, but
hey,
we'll go with it. I guess,
yeah.
But anyway, so I was like, okay, that has done it. I know I am going to go back home and go to film school. I'm going to start making films, indigenous films, or at least storytelling that reaches a global stage.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's rock and roll then. So I got to save up money. Stayed there a little bit longer, met my wife over there. And so we came back home. And I landed in Saskatchewan. I tell you, coming back home after all these adventures, I honestly had a reverse culture shock. Just as a little aside here. I came off the plane, and I was so eager for a Tim Hortons coffee, hey? And in Korea, they give you, when you do get your change back, they'll give you it with two hands. This is for respect, or else here's your change. Kamsahamnida, there's your change.
Yeah.
And all the time, there was so much respect to foreigners. They're such a very polite country. So anyway, I get my cup from the Tim Hortons people, put my change up, the lady, all right, here's the change. I honestly felt offended.
Take your change. Take your damn change.
I felt offended, like, where's the respect, hey?
There's no respect.
And I knew it was like...
Not even at Tim Hortons.
Yeah, I was like, back in Canada. I'm home. But I started to realize that I was feeling like a fish out of water, even in my own community, because not many other First Nations had the experiences I had.
Yeah, right.
Know?
Yeah.
And so I had a wife who was Korean, and I had lived in Korea. I had lived in New York. I had all these experiences where it's just, I don't belong at home anymore. I don't belong in Saskatchewan anymore. So I was happy to leave. Had to relearn how to drive again. I was one of those guys, those big old guys on a little scooter in Korea.
Right.
You know, the little putt scooters?
I wish I could have seen that.
Oh, my friends used to laugh so much.
Yeah.
And so I had to relearn how to drive again. And the week I got my license back was also the week I had to drive out here. So driving through those mountains at night, man, I had a heart attack, I swear. They don't tell you that at nighttime, these truckers go flying through the mountains.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a eye-opening experience. So I come off the highway and I get into Vancouver off the number one. And you know how the number one connects to Hastings?
Yeah. Had you ever been here before?
No. I just knew that my school was located on Hastings Street.
Right.
Well, heck, what an eye-opener. I come off the number one. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go see holy cow. You get the first-hand view of the downtown east side on a Friday at midnight. Woo-wee. So I was like, all right, this is adventure number 2. Here we go.
Yeah.
But it was great. Having said that, though, this was home, and I really enjoyed it. So right away, I got to work. I went to VFS to start off with. And, you know, you get out of school what you put into it. And I was hungry. I had learned about kind of taking control of your own education and trying to learn. So right away, I graduated, started winning grants, started making films. And this is where I kind of got into visual effects.
Okay.
Is that I didn't have money. I didn't have it, but I had a little computer and I had time. And so I started off small. Just thinking, okay, what if I start teaching myself a tutorial just over my morning coffee, just a 10-minute thing, nothing big. And sure enough, I found a few websites where 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes there. And I was like, okay, okay, I can do this. What if I write some short films that just uses a little bit of this, a little bit of that? Nothing too heavy, but I can do this. And so, sure enough, I made this one web series called Cord.
Yes. Yeah.
And Cord was pretty fun. It was just like a little camera.
And you acted in it too. Yeah.
I didn't want to, but we lost an actor.
That's right.
We lost an actor. So I was like, all right, here we go. So I had to shoot myself in it too.
Yeah, that's
my kid still loves that. My kid loves seeing that part. But it's it was really fun. But that really laid the groundwork for a lot of other stuff. But then once I knew how visual effects could be used, how it could help me, how it could really cut corners in terms of like locations, people, so many tricks.
Now, can we come up with a sort of concise definition of what a visual special effect is? Sort of.
A special effect is something practical. So say, for example, we want to shoot me, say my head explodes or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we'd have to do something like, we'd have to have real world elements. So maybe explode a watermelon and use the stuff like that.
The debris.
The debris, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have me here normally, and then the next shot, you might see an explosion like splatter. We need those real world elements. Visual effects isn't so much real world. Another version would be, special effects is everything you can touch. That's a good way to put it. But visual effects is all the digital stuff where you make it in the computer.
Right.
And so, but man, the stuff they can do nowadays.
Oh, it's astounding.
And it's really interesting because I've always thought of visual effects as, I used to be, those old Dungeons and Dragons games.
Sure, yeah.
I used to think of them in that game, whenever you learn a spell, you'd have to go on the quest and you learn the spell, and that's how you got it, right?
Right.
And then you could do this ability.
Right.
Visual effects is kind of like a spell for me.
Right.
Once you know how to make I know how to make a laser beam. That's one spell. I know how to change the whole window here and make it New York background. That's my second spell. Yeah. I know how to make my eyes glow. There's spell number 3. Right. So you're always thinking of kind of these things. But what's really happened of interest of late is that the technology and all of the programs, they used to be so pricey, so expensive. But now it's just come down so remarkably in cost.
This we're looking at right here.
It's so
we can do 4K, 120 frames a second.
Isn't that amazing?
Exactly.
You could have a dramatic slow motion like character entrance. And it's just really...
And we can change, you go into Premiere Pro and we can change the exposure, we can change the white balance, we can change everything in it. It's it boggles my mind.
I remember having to learn how to thread the film camera with actual film.
Yeah.
And now...
For sure.
It's all digital and you do the stuff in the computer. And there's just crazy amounts of stuff. So now it's really about your imagination and how well you can plan it. Can you get the right team? And so the sky's the limit. Now I can really write stuff that I can think of, and it's just a different game nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So, excuse me. Getting back to it though, was that I would, so I was starting to do my stuff for a while there and making my own short films, and I was winning a lot of grants, winning a lot of awards. And I thought, okay, well, I'll start going into different jobs. So I worked at Arctic Air, which was nice, eye-opening as a visual effects coordinator. They helped me out a lot there. That was really good. And I also met some really good writers there. They were starting to kind of get to know me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I worked at really big companies like Scanline and Fuse Effects, where they had really big shows. Fast and the Furious 7, where they replaced the guy's head, the brother, because one guy died.
Paul, what's his face? Yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is amazing stuff. Yeah. So I'd get them to kind of teach me some tricks here and there. Another one was like Game of Thrones, where we get to read some of the episodes ahead of time. And it was great. So I do that. But then we had a really hard time where my wife got sick. So one night we were in Vegas, and she started getting kind of tired, unreasonably tired, which was the weirdest thing. So we came home and we went to the doctor, ran some tests, and sure enough, like 10 p.m., the doctor called me. I was this is weird. Why is the doctor calling?
Yeah.
Says, Ryan, you have to take your wife into the hospital. I was like, what? Your wife has leukemia.
Whoa, yes.
And we're just about to go to bed, doc. And he said, okay, we'll bring her right in the morning. I'm going to let them know you're coming. They're going to isolate a room for her and prepare. So I was like, this sounds so serious.
Yeah.
So sure enough, we got there. They isolated her in a room and everything and did the whole shave the head, the treatments and whatnot. And we were freaked out. So that was probably the hardest time in our lives.
Of course.
So I had to deal with it. Like that night, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be a single father. And my kid was only 2 years old.
Yeah,
and I didn't even know where her change of underwear was. Like all this, I had so many questions. I was so overwhelmed. I remember that being honestly probably one of the worst nights of my life. But we lived close to the hospital. So every day, me and my kid would go and walk to the hospital and visit my wife and whatnot. We'd use the iPads and the iPhones to kind of say hello to each other. But she was scared.
So you couldn't go in there? They wouldn't let you in?
At the beginning, very, very beginning, they wouldn't. Then it got better and better and better. But when the chemo started happening, it was really tough, especially because she was allergic to some of the penicillin.
Sure,
so
yeah.
Just terrible time in our lives. And so I said, okay, well, I need to get a stable job and I need to do something where I have regular income instead of this feast or famine film life.
And regular hours.
So I got into teaching. And I was like, I didn't mind teaching. I really didn't mind it, and started teaching a little bit more. I already had my joint masters from UBC in screenwriting and film production. That's relevant. So anyway, so I started teaching for a while. Thankfully, the chemo worked. And my wife got better, and it's been years since it's come back. It hasn't come back, I mean. And we just got lucky. Just got lucky. But man, you go from what feels like being a boy to a man overnight. I swear I was a man child until that. When you start to realize that, okay, I'm going to raise my kid alone. Okay, I got this job. Now I got to find out daycare.
She's going to suffer and die.
Yeah. I guess I got to get her ashes or bring her to Korea. So you start going through all this stuff, eh? And so by the time that she was okay, man, we had gelled, and that was the next level plateau for us. So it really brought us closer together. Really valued the family. But we got together really good. And after that, I started getting kind of 1 foot into teaching, 1 foot into filmmaking, where I just wanted to enjoy being around the family for the longest time.
Of course, yeah, sure.
Excuse me.
And the kid, it's nice when your kid is little. It's really great.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's my friend. We're real
How old
buddies
is she now? Your daughter?
She's 11. And,
she's 11 now.
Yeah.
Okay. Those were the good years. Now she's going to be a teenager. It's going to be hell.
I know.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly.
You got another 9 years, and then she's going to say, "Well, I'm applying to Juilliard."
Oh, don't tell me.
I'm leaving. And one day there'll be a little note on the thing. I left on the 8 a.m. plane, Dad.
Really,
that's right.
Reaping what you
Karma,
sow, right?
Karma. Yeah.
Oh man, you're freaking me out. Well, yeah, you're right. I could see it.
That's okay.
Yeah, I could totally see it. She's, I don't know, but she's really cool. Let's start virtual reality.
Right.
Virtual reality. Right. So, the way a virtual reality camera is that you have this ball, and it's cameras that can see every direction, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll learn this technology. At least I'll have some fun and make a little short film. And it's kind of fun because me and my one friend Yunsu, we would we'd have to set the camera up, set the sound underneath it, and then we'd have to go running for our lives and go hide on the ground and kind of like lay flat.
Right, because you want to be hidden. Yeah. Right,
yeah. Or else we have to be hidden, or else we have to make it so that we're an easy paint out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, oh man, every single time we had to run away or maybe hit it on the app and then
delay. Yeah.
And so this went on for a while, but it was fun. We had a great time doing it.
Cool.
But every shot is a visual effect. Every single shot is visual effects because you have to stitch all of it together.
Uh-huh.
So stitching 6 cameras together.
So, okay, you mean it was 6 cameras on the ball?
Yeah.
So it's like making a panorama in 360, right?
It doesn't come automatically stitched for the most part. So you have to stitch the program together. So all those 6 cameras can make one huge file.
Right, yeah, I bet it is gigantic.
And then, well, what I wanted to do was, because I knew the visual effects, I was like, well, I'm going to add on my own personal touch. Kind of feeling cocky at the time. And I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson. But it was kind of cool is that, I tell you, it's a really cool environment in virtual reality when you're looking around and then you see a drone, like sci-fi spaceship come down from the sky on top of you. And I was making stuff like that, or lasers shooting by, or I'd make a robot who you could see the heads-up display, like kind of computer vision. So I had all this stuff happening in it. It took me forever to finish it. I'd never do a virtual reality project again unless I'm getting paid. That thing almost broke me, but it distracted me after the feature film. So that played at VIF. That was pretty good. I was happy. Had my fun. I'm done. I'm not doing that again for a while.
Right.
But then I was like, okay. So that happened. And then that's when pandemic hit. The pandemic hit and I was teaching and I was just getting miserable with teaching. I mean, I was at my wit's end with teaching. I was already wanting to quit. I just think I needed that last little kick in the butt to kind of get out of teaching. But it hit and I started talking to my family like, all right. I said, well, Hee-Jung, my wife, she said, what do you think about this? She's like, well, I'm better. You don't have to worry about me. I was like, okay. And Hannah, she's grown up now. She's 10, 11 years old. So
that's grown up.
Yeah, they're saying, Ryan, go for your dreams. You sound like you're miserable. Yeah. Do what you want to do. So I said, okay, then let's do it. So I handed in my notice at the schools, and I applied for the Pacific Screenwriting Program. Man, I was on a tear. I just got a grant too during the pandemic. I was bored. So I started making another short film with my kid just in our little house.
You were telling me.
So we'd make a little film, but again, using the visual effects stuff I knew, I could have like the walls, you could have someone kind of push out of the walls, like there was a monster or a spirit in the wall sort of thing. So I made it where the trickster was trying to talk to my kid sort of deal. And so got a big grant for that, which allowed me to take some time off and work on the film as well as go to the Pacific Screenwriting Program. And that's where I started doing the writing stuff. And it's just been on a tear ever since then, where after that, I went to finish the program, then got into Banff, met all the people, started pitching my projects, got an agent, which was kind of, wow, that was fortuitous. And
that's great.
I got onto Grendel. Grendel was the biggest show I've ever been on.
Grendel's a big series being done by Netflix, right?
Yeah,
Netflix
4
original
million per episode. So it's huge.
Hey,
I've never been on something this big.
Where is it shot?
It's out at Langley at Martini Studios.
Right.
And like I knew with Arctic Air, sometimes we'd rent like a little hangar. We'd have their little studio where the main stuff was. But these guys built New York City, like a whole few blocks of it. So it was amazing. I've never seen such a big set. And all of the visual effects, all of the stunts, the writing was top notch. So I can't express enough how it was a fun show. It's a good show too. I really enjoyed reading the scripts. So that finished in February. And then I won another big grant right now to write this next TV pilot, which I just finished, and I'm writing the next one. So that happened just last month. And then just this week is that I thought I had this plan. I'm going to shoot something for APTN. It's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah, right.
But my agent said, Ryan, you got to go to Banff. I was like, what? You got to go to Banff. That's where you got to meet everybody. And now they're doing it in person.
So
to the
really film festival.
Yeah. So bought a big ticket to Banff, set up everything. So I'm going to go to Banff and then come back home and then try to shoot these episodes. So yeah, it's busy times right now, but
you're on such a roll.
It's right now.
It's great.
So
it's great.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's all part of the fun. I really am enjoying myself with it.
Good time of life.
Yeah.
Family's okay. things are ticking over the way the script says they ought to.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
And after all the adventures, it really was that whole thing. I really enjoyed the fact that I hung out with my kid when she was so young, and we spent a lot of time together. Really enjoyed family time, you know. And now that she's wanting to go off with her friends a little bit more, and wife is totally happy, it's like, okay, I feel good enough. And after the pandemic happened, where I lost some family in the pandemic too, where it's just like, okay, I got to really take advantage of this time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of the state of affairs right now, man. It's we'll see what happens, but
Well, the other thing that's really nice, I mean, in my opinion, in your situation, is you've got like multiple skills.
Yeah.
You're not just a camera guy, which
no.
is, in and of itself fantastic to be a, on the track to be a DOP. That's great. But you got additional stuff. You're like value added all over the place. You got the writing, you got the directing, you made your own stuff. You got the visual effects, the special effects. You've also been in the editing rooms.
Yeah.
So you know all about how that works.
Yeah.
Right. It's a great toolbox that you've got.
It's all the spells, right?
Yeah, it's all the spells. I know. I think it's marvelous. I really do.
It's
Most
really
people
fun.
aren't like that. Vancouver's always been an incubator of people who are cross-trained.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have, I mean, I remember when I was coming in, there was only 2 crews in the whole city.
Wow.
And really most of the time there was only 1 crew. And then a movie came in that was The Changeling, starring George C. Scott. And that was the first time we'd had a 3rd crew working. And so everybody just bounced up in category.
Wow.
People were suddenly becoming first ADs and suddenly becoming, second camera operators and stuff like that, right? It just, boom, just kind of upped itself all at once. And now,
Yeah.
I mean, now, there's a lot of people who are working.
You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a cameraman.
No,
around
that's
here.
right. And there was one studio, Panorama, which is now a condo development up in West Van, up close to the Salmon House, and that was it. And a couple of little garage type studios where commercials, every now and then people would do commercials and stuff, but not even much of that traffic at all. And I think there was maybe 1 real talent agency, in the city.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was really just emerging. But the thing was, anybody that was interested in it, and we've interviewed some of these people on the show, they would have to do everything too, because there wasn't anybody else to do it. So you ended up getting a lot of people, actors who became something, who became something, people, everybody writing, because that's what people do.
Yeah.
Everybody writes, So yeah, it's really neat. You're in a good space and a good time, not just your time, but like this city's time.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see where things are going to go in the next little while, but at the same time, it can be exciting because I've seen things like also, I mentioned the virtual reality stuff before, right? There's storytelling going on, techniques I've seen in virtual reality that's interesting. Nowadays, we also have those LED video walls. We just got the biggest studio for those LED walls in Vancouver this
Let's
week.
explain what that is, because I only know a little bit about that, and I've never actually seen one.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah.
Is that...
it's basically like a gigantic TV screen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so imagine this whole wall was just one big TV screen, and it's an LED video wall. LEDs are really cost effective now. So what happens is that you can line it up to work with your camera so that the background will shift and create that false parallax.
Right.
So it doesn't just look like it's a picture behind me. It actually looks like
it's moving.
It's moving.
Yeah.
And the actual software to do it, before we needed to pay maybe $5,000 to use Maya, this 3D software that would make maybe make that fence and then maybe make the trees, and it would take forever to render. Well, in the last 3 years, Unreal Engine came through, and it's free.
Unreal Engine.
That's what it's called, and it's free.
Okay.
This is amazing to us is that it's free. So, and they have already scanned assets, so you don't need to build that tree. You just download it, plunk it in. You don't need to build that fence. You just take it and you plunk it in.
Yeah.
And the lighting is so good.
Yeah.
It looks real.
And you could change it. I guess you can amend
change it. You can see the sun literally like flying across the sky into night. And so
that's great.
Yeah, they made the Mandalorian.
So you never have to do any. You never have to go on location anymore.
No, I went to see one of their. They had a demonstration at Emily Carr just recently, so I went there and I wanted to know more about this technology. I taught myself Unreal Engine, so it's actually not hard to teach yourself it either because it's free, right?
Right.
So I went and talked to them. I was like, okay, so how do you recommend using this technology? They're like, honestly, go out there, you get your masters. That's all you need to do. Get your first masters of the shot with the two actors talking, whatever you need to do. Then you can do all your close-ups, taking your time in studio, and it recreates it. Wow. So like basically, you do one master. Okay, we got it. Let's go to the next location. Next master. Okay, we got it.
You don't have to do anything
well, you got to capture the environment.
You got to capture the environment that you want to have.
Yeah.
That you want to play with.
But once you do, you're laughing.
So you can take your VR camera out there, plunk it down, just
an HDRI would work. Preferably, they can make models that you can do stuff with, just in case you have the flexibility for it. But yeah, it's pretty fast. And so then you could just take your time getting good performance with your actors, and then they can leave and go back doing what they want to. It's really incredible technology. This is what I mean, is that
get rid of those actors. They leave. Just go do what you want to. Get out of here.
And the way this thing is going, like this LED technology, I've seen it used for lights. Like they have this fabric lights of LED technology. It's not going to be long before they have fabric TV. So you could just take this whole screen and we could be making that Unreal Engine on a wall.
Wow.
It's getting pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah, the stuff and they have, before, Steadicams, right?
Yeah.
So Steadicams used to be this big $15,000 investment.
Yeah, and then, weigh like 100 pounds, Yeah.
This year they came out with a camera that has a Steadicam arm built into it. So you can't see when you're
there's
walking.
the DJI Ronin 4. Yeah. The complaint about that is the quality of the camera.
A little, but it's still raw. It's still raw. So you still have, you can change it.
You're still capturing the thing. You can still change it in post.
Yeah.
So
all this stuff is just like all the technology is really opening up what you can do in the world for your stories. And visual effects. Visual effects, now that you name a visual effect, there's almost a tutorial on YouTube. So it's really just an investment of time. Do you want to learn how to do this? And can you pull it off? After that, it's really a question of willpower. Do I have the will to finish the story off? And that's what I see around here. And then
after all that is selling.
Yeah.
It becomes a sales job.
I'll tell you though, I see a lot of things people start it and you want them to complete it. That's the biggest thing, is that if you can show that you can deliver this product around town, then people are like, okay, he's a worker, and they'll start helping you out. People always want to help out on a good story. So it's an exciting time for filmmaking and storytelling. I like this stuff. I'm a nerd. Some of the benefits of teaching is that I actually have to learn some of this stuff. So I would actually watch the YouTube tutorials and then make a step-by-step thing about how to improve the sound. And that's how I can kind of have at least a knowledge of it. But I am no master by any means. It's just I can know enough to make it passable. But I always like to I like to collaborate with people when there's, I like to collaborate. I prefer that if I can. But if, like I said, I'm always going to be, I always tell my students this, is that I'm the guy that's going to take the football and run with it. The people will catch up and they'll come on board. I don't want to have to do everything, but I can if I need to. And as soon as there's more to play with, like you can do the audio, you can do the camera work, you can do the lighting, then it's great. But if there's no one around, I'll just take it and run.
Until that situation happens, then you've got to be a self-starting kind of, person at the helm.
And you can appreciate that, can't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, our whole thing, after university, we got involved with a theater collective. And we did that for 11 years. And the nice thing about that was, and it would apply to a film collective too, or a film unit if you wanted to do it, we could do stuff that we would not ordinarily be hired to do. We could miscast ourselves on purpose, so that we could play all sorts of ridiculous roles that we would never get in the professional world. You only get typecast as what you are. It's just like them telling you that there's no work for you, because you're the only indigenous guy in the school. It's the same idea. So if you've got that, if you're controlling your unit, then you can all shift around and learn the whole thing and be completely cross-trained and be utterly flexible. You could say, oh, well, we need a second unit, and half your guys can just go off and do it. And you wouldn't have to even talk about it, that kind of thing. Which is a really nice way to work, but it requires like high collaboration, like real high level. Like, what are we going to do next? You finish that show. Okay, what are we going to do? Well, I've got a script. Well, I've got a script. Well, I've got a script. Then you get into this meta kind of group think thing. Well, it's a cool way to work, though.
I think it's great. I mean, I think that's the way. Well, the tech is getting better that we can do stuff like this anytime. It's easier to do anytime you want now. But what I like is that, you're kind of like me, where no one else is going to do this for you. So you might as well learn a little bit about the cameras, learn a little bit about the sound, right? Learn a little bit about gimbals and all type of camera stuff. And sure enough, you're off and running and you're off and going. And at the end of the day, you just realize, I just need to at the end of the day, it's an image of somebody or some people and some sound. That's all it is. And so, you kind of basic down to that. So I always tell my guys is that, okay, let's not overthink it. This is what we got to do. It's not super hard. We just got to make it look good and sound good now. So after that, have fun with it. We're not curing cancer or anything like that. So let's just have fun with it at the end of the day. And once you start to have that attitude and really enjoy it, your friends and your crew has fun with it too, right? So it's been fun though.